Hey everyone, welcome back to the Mountain Valor podcast. I'm your host, Katt Whittenberger, Navy veteran, nonprofit director, and someone who knows firsthand that rural doesn't mean less than. Today, we are diving into why Mountain Valor specifically focuses on rural veterans and why that mission matters more than ever. When I retired from the Navy in 2021, I moved to Floyd, Virginia, a place I had visited once, fell in love with, and decided to call home. It is peaceful, it's beautiful, and it has almost no veteran resources. No close VA clinic, no public transit, no wheelchair accessible vehicles, and until we stepped up, no real veteran outreach. Here's the kicker. Floyd isn't some exception. According to the U.S. Census and VA data, nearly a quarter of all U.S. veterans live in rural areas compared to less than 1/5 of all Americans. And here in Virginia, rural veterans make up a significant part of our veteran population, especially in the Southwest region. These are the folks who served just as long and hard, but now live an hour or more from the nearest VA facility. The low density of veterans isn't cost efficient for most organizations to try to make a meaningful effort. Saying you reached 15 veterans in a county doesn't look nearly as good when demonstrating impact as going to an urban area where you can easily get 10 times that many without trying. So what happens? These rural veterans, our neighbors, our friends, and our family, go without. Many of these rural veterans are elderly. In Carroll County alone, over 53% of veterans are age 65 or older. Across our region, that number holds steady. This exacerbates the distance issue, as many of these veterans don't feel comfortable driving that far, especially in mountainous areas with no cell service. That generation doesn't hop online to check their VA benefits through sites that keep changing logins and options and layouts and everything else. They don't always know who to call, or even how to figure out who does what in the web of resources that constantly changes. So many came home from a war they didn't want to be in and have heard nothing but the word no ever since. But they need support. They're dealing with complicated chronic health issues, memory loss or early stages of dementia, outdated paperwork and lost records, isolation, and sometimes complete social withdrawal. There's also a lack of community resources. And let's face it, our rural communities are struggling to provide adequate services for non-complicated situations. Add in what a veteran who experienced severe trauma and Agent Orange exposure is dealing with, and the fragile system can't handle it. It wasn't, and isn't, designed to. That's why Mountain Valor's Senior Outreach Program exists. We are putting boots back on the ground, literally driving to them, sitting down with them, helping them find the benefits they've earned, and walking them through how to apply through our partners at Virginia's Department of Veteran Services. We talk to them about whole family benefits, not just disability compensation. In fact, that is the one we tend to talk about the least. There are so many other avenues of support that can often do even more for the family than just disability compensation. Here's the other piece of the puzzle. The VA, and the government in general, changes things. A lot. Let's walk through a few examples of how often benefits evolve. The post-9/11 GI Bill rolled out in 2009. The Veteran Community Care Program replaced Choice in 2019. The PACT Act added presumptive conditions for toxic exposure in 2022. As of 2023, surviving spouses of totally disabled veterans gained expanded access to certain benefits. New claims intake systems were implemented just last year in 2024. And at this very moment, the VA is revamping the entire process from application to payment for the Dependent Indemnity Compensation Program, which thousands of surviving spouses depend on. And that's just a small sample. Every change is a curveball for rural or elderly veterans who don't have a claims rep nearby or even reliable internet. We all know the VA does not answer their phones. They're running on fumes, trying to keep up as well, but that doesn't help our folks who can't connect any other way. Even state programs change. Virginia's own Military Survivors and Dependents Education Program has evolved over time, including adjustments to disability rating thresholds. If you're not tracking these updates closely, you miss out. Also, who actually has the time to track all these changes and figure out what they really mean? Well, that's where we come in. I do want to take a minute to shout out the Virginia Department of Veteran Services here too. They've built an incredible network of benefits offices, but a lot of our counties, especially in Southwest Virginia, are still a long way from the nearest one. Now, DVS has added veteran service representatives and mobile units, which is a huge help, but the train is still tough. And if you don't have a car or gas money, you're out of luck. That's why Mountain Valor partners with DVS when we can, but also fills in the gaps they just can't reach alone. This is a huge reason why we are trying to raise funds for a wheelchair-accessible van to help get our neighbors to life-changing appointments like these with the experts who will take care of them. One of the things about the Virginia Department of Veteran Services is that ever since they found out about us, that they have scooped us up and made sure that we understand everything that they do, that we have all of their contact information, that we're included in outreaches that they're doing, and that I reach out to them and make sure they know about outreaches that we're doing. And, it's just really been amazing to be seen as an enabler from day one. They've never hesitated. When we sent out and asked for support, they have always stepped up and provided it. So, why Mountain Valor? Our mission is simple: empowering veterans and their families across rural Virginia by providing them with the tools, resources, and connections to thrive. And that rural piece isn't just a setting, it's our culture. We are self-sufficient. We don't like handouts. We rely on family and community, but sometimes that's not enough, and that's where Mountain Valor comes in. Whether it is by hosting Mountain Valor Fest, September 13th this year, come and bring all of your friends, sending outreach teams to the veterans where they are, or helping someone understand how a survivor pension works while sitting in a library parking lot, we do what makes sense to enable a veteran to accept assistance. If you're listening and you're wondering how to help, easy. Spread the word. Bring a veteran with you to our next outreach event, or donate and help us print out more senior outreach packets that covers all of the resources that we know of that are available, how to apply for them, and how to get help when there's a hiccup. More info is available at mtnvalor.org, and as always, thanks for walking this path with us. Until next time, stay grounded, stay connected, and stay in the fight.